Hi everyone, it's Ross Cook from the Center of Balance and Effective Communication, rosscookbalancing.com. I'd like to visit with you today about some of the intangibles that are just outside our normal day-to-day structure and awareness. Gene Atterberg, a brilliant writer, says healing is embracing what is feared, healing is opening what is closed, softening what has hardened into an obstruction, and healing is learning to trust life. Beautiful words. Learning to trust life. The last couple nights I've shared what are some wonderful stories about Pygmalion and this and that, and today I'm going to share a couple stories that probably are a little rough around the edges, but they're beautiful stories in what they give us into the invisible, as a step into the invisible. Today, two stories about rats. One, if you take a rat and drop it 20 feet, the likelihood it's going to be injured or crushed is pretty high. Drop it from 50 feet, same story. 75 feet, same story. Little mouse gets injured. If you chuck it off something and it falls 75 feet, a mouse is going to get injured. 25, 50, 75. But if you drop that same mouse from 2,000 feet, you know what happens? Nothing. The mouse lands on the ground and gets up and walks away. Now that is amazing, and it seems outside of any reason we understand. But what happens is they fall for a certain period of time, and the rat passes out and relaxes, loses all its density, a lot of its tenseness in its body. It's not struggling at the moment of impact. And because of that, it's uniquely made to survive. It is uniquely made to absorb tremendous pressure and live. We are uniquely made also, but we then build densities into our lives time and time and time again with our thought processes. The second story, this time not about mice, but about rats, and kind of a rough story, and yet I hope they don't do too much of this anymore, but I believe it still goes on. They take rats and they put them in vats that they can't get out of, where there's water in there, and they swim. And they are there, quite frankly, to study how long the rats are going to swim before they drown. So the rats are in there swimming and flailing and swimming around, and pretty soon it's starting to be a life and death struggle, and the rats begin to drown. At the 11th hour, at the last moment, they reach in and scoop some out, not all. Just as the other ones are drowning and dying right in front of them, they take some of them out and give them a moment's rest. Just a brief respite, not very long at all. They give them a break from the tension and the terror of about to drown. And then they take them and throw them back in the water. You know how long the rat... Now, their compatriots, they all been swimming almost about the same amount of time. One is now, a series of them have drowned. You know how long the next group that have been saved just momentarily, just for a brief period of time, and they're put back in the same life-threatening situation? You know how much longer they swim? They swim for 3 days. 3 days longer. What's the difference? Let's put it into our parlance. I don't know the language of rats, but in our parlance, those rats had hope. They were given hope that something might happen right at the day. They have hope, and they're strengthened by that hope. I love in the quote that Gene Atterberg is talking about, where it says, softening what has been hardened. So often when we think of hope, we think about, I'm going to buy a lottery ticket and I hope I win. Instantly, we're bludgeoned by something that's dense and tight and reactive that says, no, you're not. No, you don't even know anybody has. It's not going to happen. And we go A-B that fast. Our conscious mind thinks black, white. Good, bad, tall, short, just like that. So it's very easy for us to get into that kind of thought of a hardened, quick reaction. Those rats swam for 3 more days, just on hope, but not, I wonder if I'm going to drown the next second. No, but on a different kind of hope. Imagine all the people in the world who have hoped, some kind of celestial hope. They're down at the last chance. And they are in need of something greater than themselves. Something that's grantedly invisible, but they're pumping a lot of energy into that and they're receiving a lot back. The invisible. Healing is embracing what is feared. And at the Center for Balanced and Effective Communication for 26 years, we've been teaching people how to journey within, release the fears within a difficult time or a limit or a stress or a horror, capture that energy and bring it forward, invest it into something that's tremendously healing. A different kind of hope. Granted, it's invisible. A different kind of hope. Healing what is, opening what is closed, softening what is hardened. Get out of that reactive world. Get into something that flows differently. Do it slightly differently. And learning to trust life. That second kind of hope is a celestial hope. Think of all the people who've thought it and believed it. And if you've seen little thought bubbles that go up in the world, you know, like I have a thought and I'm connected to you and you and I are thinking about similar things. There is a unique address energetically in this world that is just you and me and how we think. Think of all the people who have energized the thought bubble of hope. Granted, it's invisible. Healing is learning to trust life. That's a different celestial hope. It's an open and different hope. Does it have a lot of rules? No. How do you get to it? By stopping whatever's getting in the way of it when you go inside. And one of the things I suggest then is you sit in silence, or you take yourself for long walks and you think only about hope, and then you pay attention to what comes flying in that gets in the way and uses energy. Because believe me, it's only energy. And if we can have more of a clear channel to that unhardened obstructions, to the softening, to the opening, to the embracing, the more clear our energy, the more clearly we interact with it, and therefore more clearly the universe interacts with us. Healing is learning to trust life. We'll talk again soon. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Here's what's coming up. We'll be talking about etheric stuff for the next 2 or 3 days. I hope you and your family have a lovely time together. And here's the point. Just do something differently. Do it in the celestial kind of hope. Spend time with people where there might be some bumps and embrace what's feared. Open what might be closed or reactionary. Soften what is difficult and challenging and hard. And spend nice deep breathing and learning to trust life. We'll talk again soon. I'm Ross Cook, Ross Cook Balancing. And until then, Jomo.